With that glove, you'll scroll.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's see.
Well, if you need it, I can lift it for you.
Move your finger up a little. Yeah, a bit lower. Yeah, a bit higher. There, yes.
Okay, my kitties today. Wait, one more time. My kitties. Today, my eldest daughter, Alexandra, and I want to. What the hell? This is sleeping pills, blah, 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 blah. Luckily, you'll be the one talking, not me. My kitties. Today, my eldest daughter, Alexandra, and I want to talk about a very interesting topic, the topic of nutrition, because for her, it's extremely relevant. For me too. Right now, I'm carrying, let me tell you, 66 kilograms, which is very bad. I should weigh 62, so these 4 kilograms are just dead weight. I don't really understand it. It's all because of France, since I ate so much of that delicious bread, those cursed baguettes with that French butter. It's the red wine, the pasta, all those nasty carbs that end up sticking to your whole body. And it's not really clear what to do about it next. And this topic is relevant not only for you and me, but also for our viewers. Let's raise this question. What do you most often dream about? Right when you want something unhealthy, because you know perfectly well. And we've talked about this more than once in our private group. We've brought up the topic of eating disorders twice. The link is in the description below. Check out those interesting videos. We had live streams there, and everything is saved, all the information from the whole year. You know very well that these breakdowns, snacking and binge eating, are all connected to emotions, that we're kind of suppressing something inside ourselves or struggling with something. There's something you want, and instead, yes, it's mostly something you want emotionally, instead you turn to food. Exactly.
Well, you know, for me, first of all, I think it's the same for many people. It's boredom. I mean, when you're sitting at home, especially if you work from home or you spend the whole day at home, you're constantly snacking. You know it yourself, you're always opening the fridge. Let's pour something for tea. But when you're busy and you spend the whole day out walking or in museums, you even forget that you need to eat. So I guess that's something I deal with very often. Well, number two for me, you know, I love to eat. Since I was born, my mom used to stuff me with food when I was a baby. She fed me and fed me and fed me, and from those moments...
I taught my daughter RPP. It's true?
For life?
Yes, for life. How did I do it? Since I had her at a very young age, I gave birth to her when I was 17. For me, she was like a little doll that I loved to dress up nicely and feed. And I fed her, well, yes, until she would throw up. You know, I really liked watching her eat, and I thought that my baby should be chubby. And so, my love showed itself through making sure the child was always fed. One time I even fed her 2 bush legs. Naturally, she threw up and so on, and it was terrible. There's nothing funny about it. I'm just talking about a mistake I made when I was young, and how they had this cause and effect relationship, how it all turned into what it is now. And now Sasha just loves food. You love food.
I love food, but that's now, at this moment. But when I was younger, I had this thing where I had to finish my plate. When I went to a buffet, I had to take absolutely everything. And until I ate all of it, I wouldn't calm down. At this point, I've kind of grown out of it a bit, and I just love food. I love restaurants. I love cooking. I love get-togethers. I'm one of those people my mom hates who can sit in a restaurant for 3 or 4 hours, ordering, talking, chatting. So in this sense, for me, it's also a social thing. Food is a social thing for me, because how else do you meet up with your friends? Oh, let's go to a restaurant, let's go for coffee, let's go have some pastries. It's part of being social, otherwise you don't even know how to meet up with someone or how to talk to someone. When you don't know what to do, you eat.
Can you say this is RPP or not? So in your case, is this still an eating disorder or not?
Well, you know, at the moment it's more or less suppressed for me, but I've told you many times that I don't believe you can ever get rid of it completely. Intuitive eating can only be sustained by people who haven't had an eating disorder. Even though you could say I eat intuitively, I more or less understand how many calories are in things. When I've overeaten carbs, when I need to cut back, how much I ate on Sunday. I always keep this counter running in my head, and in a way that's also an eating disorder because truly healthy people can stop themselves. For example, you and Serafima can eat a couple of pieces and say, that's enough for me, but for me it's not enough. I'll keep eating until I have to lie down on the couch and start feeling sick. This happens too.
All right, and by the way, how are things with you and sweets?
I don't like sweets.
You're lucky, she's lucky.
The only thing I'm lucky with. I'm very indifferent to sweets. My weakness is salty food. I can eat pasta, sandwiches. Ever since I was born, what did I have? Sausage, smoked sausage, and olives. That was my favorite food, and it still is.
You're lucky, but I eat sweets, so I've had pimples, yeast infections, and other candidiasis issues my whole life. Anyway, let's move on. What food temptations, let's say, at what moment and what exactly? Where do you know for sure that you might have that dreaded breakdown?
Well, vacations, when you go on trips, because you understand that it's your vacation. I want to try many restaurants I've listed. Now is the time to indulge, just like during the upcoming New Year's holidays. All these temptations, and then, it's really hard to get back into your routine. Like, you started eating croissants for a month, and when you come home, you kind of want pastries and pasta again. So usually, these big slip-ups happen either during special events or, on the contrary, during some kind of breakup.
And you already realize this in advance, by the way. You already know, okay, I'm going there. What's your mindset?
I plan to lose 3 kilograms before the trip, knowing I'll gain them back during it.
Oh, that's how it is.
I don't know if that's a healthy or unhealthy mindset, but then I'll just go back to my normal weight. Instead, if you had lost 3 kilograms before France, you would have come back at 62.
Interesting solution. The only thing is, for me, that would be impossible since I'm very tall, 1.78 meters. And for example, I love my weight, 61, 62 kilograms. If I weigh 59 or 58, that would be a very unhealthy weight for me. Because Sasha and I have the same problem. All our fat goes to our face. Everything goes to the face, so our figure and body can be absolutely normal. But all of this is like that. And for example, if I suddenly weigh 58 kilograms, I will feel really bad. I would already have anemia, and I've had experiments like that before. So it turns out that this body is almost anorexic. My ribs are already showing. It's not even very attractive anymore.
But you're much slimmer than I am. I have
different traps, right? Still in the body. Maneuvers, kind of, right?
Well, I could lose 10 kilograms too.
And it's fine, it's fine. Okay, all right. By the way, coming back to the topic of these heavy emotions, right? Besides boredom, is there any other emotion that you tend to eat away at?
Many people eat when they're sad or depressed. Some people, on the contrary, are lucky. When they get sad, they can't eat. Some people lose weight, while others eat to cope with emotions. But for most people who are overweight, it often happens because of some kind of sadness or loneliness. Mom died, husband divorced, and so on.
That's already something radical and stressful. Essentially, it's distress.
I want to say that I just love to eat.
Just like that, right?
It brings me so much pleasure.
Comment if you, like Alexander, love to eat. For me, it's different. So she actually has a fixation. She loves restaurants. She plans all these gastronomic tours around the world, chooses some of the best restaurants in Italy, in Belgium. Which top restaurant did you say you want to go to?
It's a 12-hour drive in Copenhagen. Yes, I really do. Well, for me, I found a way. It's to work out every day. I know for some people that's too much, but for someone like me, who is first prone to gaining weight and second, really loves to eat and constantly enjoys it, I'm not ready to give that up. I'm not ready to just eat asparagus all the time. It's important for me to move my body very actively for at least an hour every day, but it also gives me a certain energy. I try to eat more or less properly from Monday to Friday, meaning I eat normally during the week. Lunches should be boring, they shouldn't be fun, your work lunches, and on weekends and so on, I allow myself more.
All right. So to wrap up the topic of, for example, heavy emotions, you already know very well that right now you're eating to cope with sadness or boredom, that you're eating to deal with hurt or jealousy. But what do you choose to do? If you move into a more conscious state, are you able to be guided by your reasonable adult side? What do you do? How do you cope with it?
Instead of eating to cope?
Yes, instead of eating to cope.
And fill that time, fill your thoughts with something else, like going for a long walk or keeping your hands busy with something different. You like to embroider or you like to knit, read a book. Just fill that time with something else. Redirect your mind in a different direction.
And do you actually work with this, let's say, with this sadness? Do you ask yourself, what's happening to me? What is this sadness about? What events is it related to?
No, but I have this feeling that I immediately know why. I don't allow myself to be sad. I don't allow myself to be sick. I don't allow myself to be sad. If I feel bad physically or mentally, I force myself to go outside and do something about it.
You're not very psychologically minded.
No.
You never really liked that. No, she always said, Mom, stop it. Yeah, I tried to practice some techniques on you.
I still remember from Dad when I got sick as a child, he would say, I will be healthy, repeat it 3 times, and then let's go. Whenever I feel like lying down, I remind myself to be healthy and get up. For us, it's more like
A sportier approach.
not lovable approach.
Yes, a more precise and direct approach, let's put it that way.
Army style.
No whining at all.
No whining.
And a certain depth, a philosophical one. All right, let's do it this way. What do you think specifically helps you in life to control overeating?
I think that everyone who struggles with overeating first needs to understand what it is. I feel like most people actually don't understand what calories are, how many calories are in each food. They don't realize that their morning coffee can be equal to a burger. Yes, in terms of calories, and that's important. I'm not talking about people who struggle with anorexia or have problems in the other direction, but it's important to understand your calories. That's why I'm very much in favor of people keeping track of them, counting them for a week, 2, 3, it doesn't matter, just to understand what it is, what's in your food. Because most of us aren't educated in this area, we don't understand the difference between carbohydrates and proteins. And that's why counting these calories is important. Keeping this diary and calculator for at least 2 or 3 weeks is very important. Then you can stop using it and just understand. I understand physically, okay, if yesterday I ate about 1 plate of pasta that's around 1,000 calories, today I'll reduce my intake to balance it out. So in the end, there should be balance. That's our goal. I want to allow myself to eat everything, but within some limits. But if we don't realize where we've overeaten, like we had cake with cream, some coffee, and didn't even think about it, and the next day we do it again and wonder why we're gaining weight, why the weight stays. We need to understand this and create balance. That's most important to me.
By the way, can you call this intuitive eating, or is intuitive eating something different in your understanding?
No, I think intuitive eating means you eat what you want when you want, then stop. So you have no idea. If someone asks how many calories you ate in a day, you really don't know.
So you're just for food literacy, not for proper nutrition. By the way, what do you think are the downsides of proper nutrition? Oh, not nutrition, but intuitive eating?
Intuitive. I don't see any downsides if you're someone who was born able to do this, and there aren't many of them, but they do exist. Serafima eats intuitively, except she avoids sweets.
Serafima is my younger daughter. And do I have intuitive eating?
And you have pretty intuitive eating habits too. So, if you cut out 1 bun a day, that's fine, but mostly you eat intuitively. That never worked for me. If I start allowing myself everything my heart desires, and that's what they say about intuitive eating, right? Allow yourself whatever you want. Like if you want a chocolate bar, then eat a chocolate bar. But I want to eat every single minute. I think about it all the time. And I would eat the whole fridge, so it doesn't work for me. And there are a lot of people like me, a lot of them.
But what they mean is that at some point you'll calm down. You'll eat 3 fridges worth of food 3 times, and then you'll tell yourself, I've eaten, I don't really need that much anymore. This inner restriction is what makes you want to eat like crazy. As soon as the restriction is gone, you'll start eating intuitively.
Only people who have never struggled with this problem say things like that. That's one. Or those who are trying to sell you their courses and how they supposedly overcame eating disorders. That's it. If it's a person who's not trying to sell you anything and has actually struggled with constant overeating, they'll all tell you that they always stick to a certain calorie intake, always. Or it could be more dangerous, like always keeping a strict food diary, or maybe they've moved on. It seems more relaxed and intuitive, like for me, but I still count in my head.
Aha, I see. All right, my dears, please write in the comments how you feel about intuitive eating. Have you ever tried this kind of lifestyle? Because intuitive eating works for me, and I know people it works for. But for Alexandra, it doesn't work. She told you why. Okay, fine. By the way, what's the most unhealthy dish you like, but you try to eat it rarely? What's the most unhealthy thing for you?
You know, most likely, I would say the most unhealthy thing is French fries from fast food, like McDonald's French fries with sweet and sour sauce. Because first of all, it's all carbs, it's all chemicals, it's all fried in terrible oil, and then you dip it in a huge amount of sugar, which is what sweet and sour sauce is.
I love McDonald's. Which burger place do you like best? I prefer McDonald's.
McDonald's.
You like McDonald's too?
100%.
But why? Why is that? It's number one. Even Donald Trump has his own personal McDonald's on his plane, and I think it must be so tasty. Because everywhere else in the world, McDonald's is total crap. The best McDonald's was in Russia. We give first place to Russia. Now it's called Vkusno I Tochka. What do you think? Is it the same as McDonald's or different? Let me know in the comments. When I'm in Russia, I'll definitely go to Vkusno I Tochka. McDonald's in China is not bad, but overall around the world it's terrible. It's just terrible.
But I still...
Same here. I still eat it, even if the fries are dried out. Is it nostalgia? Probably, I'm not sure. But there's also a simplified version of that burger. It's not really heavy because there's almost no meat in it. It's kind of very...
Well, you know, overall, actually, a burger is quite a healthy dish because you get a good amount of protein. If it's good quality beef, that's good protein. Burgers include vegetables like lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers, plus some carbs. You can even skip a bun, so burgers aren't really unhealthy. French fries, there's nothing there, no micronutrients, no healthy substances, no protein. You're just eating sugar, oil, and it's all fried, basically nothing.
Okay, in your view, why is it so hard for people to give up fast carbs? Why do we keep reaching for those pastries? No matter where you go, every coffee shop has those darn pastries everywhere. I just want to say, comrades, please make something else, you know? There are some coffee shops like that, but not many. And then there's a different twist. You come in and it's all vegan, all that stuff, green smoothies and so on. Is there a place in between where you can actually go? By the way, do you know of many places in America, for example, where you can just walk in and find exactly what you need?
Well, it depends on where you live. If you're in Los Angeles, for example, everything there is very sunny and healthy, and everyone will serve you all kinds of smoothies and so on. I live in Texas, and nobody drinks smoothies there. It's all about buns, meat, you know, something more masculine in that sense. It really depends on where you are. If you walk around Miami, it's all smoothies there too.
Let's return to the main question. Thank you. Why is it so hard for people to give up these fast carbs? Why do we always reach for them?
Because you have... I'm not a nutritionist, people will correct me in the comments, but it seems like, after all, it's glucose and your endorphins go up right away. It's a quick way to feel good.
Yes. You can watch the second part of this wonderful, incredibly useful video in my private Telegram channel. The link will be below in the description. There's a huge amount of information I've recorded over the year. It's a whole huge video library, including live streams, various audio lectures, meditations, visualizations, and affirmations. There are tons of useful exercises. Yes, and about eating disorders. We spent almost a month covering this topic, and you can join and go through this eating disorder in the pinned message. There will be many interesting things. We talked about eating disorder movies, books, and more. Sasha, why do you recommend my Telegram channel?
Well, especially about eating disorder, I was actually going through all of that when you were doing it. It was just amazing content. But the amount of useful information, the number of lectures, the amount of your presence in that group, it's really worth a lot, but not in your case. So everyone can join and everyone can become part of such a helpful community. As I always say, you shouldn't stop your education at school. You need to keep learning every day. And your group is like a university for women.